Now I will show you how to create a new instance in the EC2. So in last session we have seen what is EC2. Now I will show you how to create a EC2 instance in the AWS console. Okay, so now you go to the EC2 and you can see here instances. In the instances you have to create a launch instance. You have to click launch instance and then you have to give the instance name my new instance. Okay, and then you have to choose the Ubuntu. There are many OS, so Ubuntu is one of the OS, so I am choosing Ubuntu now, and then choosing Ubuntu server 22 free tier eligible. It is asking for the current settings. You can say confirm changes. Okay, and then you have to choose the architecture as 64-bit 8086. Then it is T2 micro. T2 micro means it's a free tier eligible. Up to 720 hours this is available freely. After that it will be a chargeable. Okay, 720 hours means 1 month. 1 month it will be freely available. And then you have to create a new key pair and just click on this new key pair, and then you have to type the key my key pair. You can say any key pair name. You can say my key pair. Then you have to choose PPK here, then create a new PPK here. After creating the new PPK pair, that will be downloaded here. You can see this my key pair, and then you have to choose the firewall. So you have to say select firewall. There will be a existing firewall group, so you have to choose the select firewall group. So we'll choose default, and then up to 30 GB it is free, I said previously, so you can use 30 GB now. And then you have to say launch instance. So what all changes you did, that thing as I shown here. Now I'll say launch instance. Instance will be created automatically. Okay, you can see the instances. So if you refresh this, a instance is being created. Okay, so you can see the instance. It will take time to create. Okay, now you can see the new instance has been created. Okay, so that is called as T2 micro, and then you have to see that it has passed to 2x2 check passed. The 2x2 check pass is nothing but it is actually the security check. So there are some checks should be passed actually. You can see here check pass. I'll show you that check pass. Okay, it should pass the security check. Two checks. One is system reachability check passed, and second one is instance reachability check passed. So if these two check is passed, then the instance is ready for connecting. Okay, now we can connect this instance through the PuTTY or WinSCP. Okay, so you can use PuTTY. You have to download PuTTY. I'll show you how to download PuTTY. You go to Google and say PuTTY download. Okay, and then you have to download this PuTTY. For PuTTY download PuTTY, and you can download this PuTTY now. Okay, after downloading you have to install this PuTTY. Okay, after installing it, you can see the PuTTY will be opening it. If you say PuTTY, this will be opening like this. A PuTTY will be opening like this. This is called as PuTTY. Using this PuTTY also you can connect to the EC2 instance, but there is a better way to connect to the EC2 instance. I will show you how to do that. Instead of you have to install this PuTTY also, and I will show you another way that is called as WinSCP. You have to download WinSCP, and then you have to say WinSCP download. Then you got to go to the official site of WinSCP. Okay, and then you have to download this official WinSCP download. Okay, so download WinSCP 6.3.4. If you download it, and after installing that WinSCP, you can see this WinSCP can be opened like this. WinSCP. Okay, so WinSCP can be opened like this. WinSCP open. Now we can connect to our site. Okay, so say new site, and then you have to give the select the SFTP. You have to select SFTP, and then you have to go give the host name. Host name, what you have to give is, you have to give the IP address. I will show you what is IP address. Go to this particular instance, select this instance, you can take the public IP. So this is called as public IP address. You copy this public IP and then you just place it here, host name, Control V. You can paste the host name here, and then port number is 22. This is for connecting to the SSH. This is 22 is for connecting to the SSH using the PuTTY. Then username is Ubuntu. How do you find out Ubuntu? I will show you how to find out Ubuntu. Go to that instance, then select that instance, say connect. You can see here Ubuntu username. Okay, so Ubuntu user you have to say. So how to connect this instance, he will show you. I'll say connect. Okay, if you say connect, through this also you can connect the instance. I'll show you how to do that. You can see that instance is opening now. This is one way of connecting to the instance, and you can log into this, and then it will take time to establish a connection. So you can see that instance is ready. Okay, this is one way of connecting to the instance. I'll put the command here. This is one way of connecting to the instance. The another way I said no, WinSCP. WinSCP also can be used. You have to give the username Ubuntu, and then you have to go to advanced, click on advanced, then go to authentication. In SSH you have to click on authentication, and then you have to choose the private key file which you downloaded, right? While creating the instance, you created one key pair, right? That key pair you have to download, that will be downloaded automatically, and you have to choose that key pair. So go to downloads and choose the my key pair 1. This is the key pair we have created, right? So just say open, and then say OK, and then save this. You can save it to your name or any name you can give, and then say login. If you log into this will be connecting to that host, and then say accept. Okay, so now the instance will be connected. You can see the files here, home Ubuntu. Now you want to go to that Linux instance, right? If you want to go to the Linux instance, click on this. You can see here, open session in PuTTY. You click on this PuTTY, this will open a PuTTY here, and then like this you can connect ls-al. I think this will be the better way to connect to our instances whenever you want. Otherwise you have to go to this EC2, you have to log in, and then you have to connect to this instance. This is a roundabout way. So the better way is you can use the WinSCP for connecting to the EC instance. Now you can see the instance is connected. Okay, now you can run the command and you can see the commands. So now you can see the commands, right? This is the Linux instance we have created. Okay, so this is the terminal or the instances that we have created, and we have logged into that instances. We have seen how to run these commands, right? So now we will go to the instances. You can see here, this is the instance what we have created. So now we will see the details about the instance. This is the instance name, this is the instance ID. Now this is the instance state which is running, and this is the instance type. You have created T2 micro, and this is the status check we have passed. Then we will go to this availability zone. Now this availability zone is the zone where it has created the US East 1D. US East 1 is nothing but this is the North Virginia, that is US East 1, and D is the D zone. There are A, B, C, D, E zone, like that, many zones, right? So I have created these instances in the US East 1D, and this is the public IP address, and then this is the public IP address, this is the public IP address, and then it will show you what is elastic IP also. So this public IP address is nothing but this will be created whenever an instance is created. The main problem is this public IP address is keep on changing it. Whenever an instance is created, the public IP address will be created. When you stop these instances, when you stop it, and then if you say start again, this public IP address get changed. That is a major disadvantage of having this problem. Okay, so the public IP address will be keep on changing whenever instance is getting stopped, reboot, or hibernate or start again. So you can stop the instances, again you can start the instances, then you can reboot the instances. Sometimes if the instance is getting not getting logged in, or some instance is getting stuck, it is not opening it at all, at that time you have to do reboot instances. Sometimes if you reboot also, the instances will not get logged in through the WinSAP, or when you are trying to open any website, right? At that time, what you have to do is you have to stop the instance and then start the instance. Then that problem will be closed automatically. Okay, that problem will be cleared. So that is a usage of stop and start and reboot. Reboot means whenever you get stuck, you can first try a reboot. If that is not working, then stop the instance and then start the instances. So that is the method of instances whenever getting stuck. Let me go through one more steps. So next, view alarms. What is this view alarms? You can create alarms whenever an instance is getting a problem, whenever an instance is getting down, or whenever getting stopped, or whenever an instance is getting restarted. At that time and all, you will be getting an email or SMS. So like that you can create alarms. So for that you have to enable SNS and then SMS. Like that you have to enable this. Then only you can create alarms. So whenever an instance gets stopped, or whenever an instance gets stuck or restarted, you will get an email or SMS through this view alarms. Okay. Next, we'll move on to the more explanation. Now monitoring is disabled here. The security group is default security group you are using. I said a security group is nothing but this is actually a firewall. The firewall is nothing but this will allow the IP address, stop the IP address, block the IP address. This will allow the port number, this will block the port number. That is the process of firewall. So firewall, I'll explain more about this firewall. That is called as security group. So I'll show you what is a security group. A security group is nothing but this is the firewall for our instance. This will block the IP address, this will allow the IP address. It has a inbound and outbound rules. I'll show you what is the security groups. Okay, so you can go to the security groups here. You can go to security, click on security groups. This is the security groups. Click on the security groups. Okay, if you go to the security groups, you can see the inbound rules and outbound rules. So this inbound rule is nothing but this is the SSH, which is allowing to port number 22. Okay, this is HTTP, it is allowing port number 80. Then this is the HTTPS allowing port number 443. Like this, each and every port has to be opened in the firewall. Then only you can log in. If you disable this 22, you cannot do WinSAP login. This will block the SSH login. Okay, so this is a firewall which allows you to log into the instances. I will show an example of how these inbound rules, outbound rules are working. Suppose I am just removing this SSH inbound rules. You can see that. Okay, I have logged into this. I am closing this event. I am just closing it. Okay, now I am just stopping this in SAP. Now I will try to connect to this EC2. Okay, I am just stopping that, removing this SSH now. We will go to edit inbound rules, and then I am just removing this 22. You can see this. I will show an example. Okay, I am deleting this 22. Now save the rules. I removed the rules. So this is the security groups. I removed one rules called 22. Now I am just trying to log into the WinSAP. Okay, I am just using this WinSAP to log in. I am say login. You can see here searching for host. It will not allow you to log in until you allow the security group 22 to log in. Okay, now I will allow the security group. Go to the security group, say edit inbound rules. Okay, now add rule and then select SSH. Then say port number 22. Then you have to select all IP address. Then you have to choose save rules. If you save rules, you can see that automatically the WinSCP get connected. Can you see now? The WinSCP is getting connected. Now you can log into this. So this is the security group. That's a firewall. I said no. That's a firewall which allows you to log in into this. So this is the inbound security groups. I have shown you how to create a port number 22 security group allow. Okay. So this is how you have to create the inbound rules if suppose any port is not allowing, if the instance not getting connected. Okay. Now we will go to the instances. I'll show you in the PPT. There are different types of instances. One is on-demand instance, reserved instance, spot instance, dedicated instance, capacity reservation. So what is on-demand instance? This is a normal instance which we have created right now. In previous demo I shown you. That is a normal instance what we have created. A reserved instance is nothing but this is the instances we have to previously ask them the AWS to allow to create a reserved instances. You cannot directly create a reserved instances. You have to ask them to create a reserved instances. They only will create the reserved instances. Okay. In the spot instance also the same thing. You can create a spot instances that will be more costlier than on-demand instances. That is normal instances. So this is flexible, fault tolerant workloads, big data analysis. This spot instances is a flexible and fault tolerant workload big data analysis. And then dedicated instances like VPS hosting is a dedicated instances. We can create dedicated instances in AWS also. Then we have the capacity reservation. We can reserve the capacity of the EC2 instances in a specific availability zone for any duration. So previously you have to ask them previously to allocate some EC2 instances to be created using the capacity reservation. I will show you how to do that in the capacity reservation. Okay. So you can go to that capacity reservation and then you have to ask them to create. Okay. Get started and you have to do the capacity reservation. So you will see here what type of you need instances. T2 small, T2 3 like that you have to say. You can say T3 extra large, T3 micro, like this you have to choose. Okay. And then what type of platform you want, Linux or Windows or which version you want to use, you have to specifically say. Then in which zone you want, 1A, 1B, 1C or 1D, like that you have to choose the availability zone. Tenancy means the default tenancy they will be using. If it is a dedicated instance you want, you can use dedicated instance. If it is a default instance, it will be a shared hardware instances. Okay, you can run the shared hardware instances. Then placement group is nothing but this is also one type of options which is available in the EC2 for creating the different placement groups, where in which place you want, in the which region you want, you can specify that in the placement group. And number of capacity, number of instances you can say 10 instances or 5 instances, how many instances you want, you can reserve it previously. And then capacity reservation details. So you want to schedule this, you can schedule it at a specific time. So in which date, from which date to from which date you want, from which time to which time you want, you can specify that. If you want say manually, you can say manually. Okay. And then instance eligibility. It's a open instance or targeted instance. Only instance that target the capacity reservation. Open instance, any instance is matching attributes. If it is a targeted instance, you have to specify the targeted instances. Okay. That's the capacity reservation you have to do. If you do the capacity reservation, they will create the instances and they will provide you. Okay. This is called as capacity reservation. This is a scheduled one actually. You can on the particular day that will be scheduled automatically. You don't have to wait for that. They will create the instances and they will schedule it automatically. That is called as capacity reservation. So this is one of the main concept in the AWS. So in any interview questions, they will be asking this: what is this capacity reservation? You know how to reserve the how to reserve the instances. You should know what is capacity reservation. Okay, that's the capacity reservation we can do. And then we have the dedicated host. We can create the dedicated host inside this thing. If you want to allocate a dedicated reservation or allocate a dedicated resource host, we can create, and then we can create the reserved instances also. So this is how we can create reserved instances. We recommend saving plans or reserved instances. Saving plans are the earliest and most flexible way to save money on your AWS compute costs and offer low price up to 72%, just like reserved instances. To learn more about and get started with the saving plans, click here. So there are different saving plans available for reserved instances. Okay, so you can purchase the reserved instances. You can say purchase. You can purchase the reserved instances. First, in the purchase reserved instances, it will be asking what type of platform you want and what type of tenancy you have to use, and then any offering classes. It's a standard or convertible or any classes you can choose, and then you have to say which type of instance type you need, and then how many terms, 1 month to 12 months or 12 months to 36 months. So you can say the term if you have, and then you have the payment option. So there will be a partial upfront, all upfront, any upfront you can choose, and then you can search for it. So they will provide the instances, AWS 12-month effective rate, upfront price, like this they will be providing the reserved instances. Okay, they will reserve the instances for you for the less cost. So you can create the instances like this also. This is called as reserved instances. I showed different types of instances. This is one is dedicated cost, capacity reservation, reserved instances. So now you have seen the different types of instances: on demand, reserved, dedicated, capacity instances. A spot instance is also available. We'll see in the next session. So I'll stop here. We'll continue in the next session. Thank you.